The big debate is, does the archaeological record support the biblical narrative? Meaning, does what we find in the ground support the stories? You know, if we look at the period of time of the patriarchs, for instance, or the Exodus, from 3,800 to 3,000 years ago, there's no historians back then. There's no books you can look at, no photographs. You can't go to Wikipedia and look up Abraham. He's waving at you with his camel. People don't realize that the first historian in the West was Herodotus. He wrote in the 5th century, 1,300 years after Abraham. The only thing we can use to basically verify the biblical narrative is the archaeological record. But based on everything I've said, the number one attack against the Bible based on archaeology has been lack of evidence. Any lawyer would tell you in legalese that lack of evidence is no evidence of lack. In the land of Israel, when, let's say, if we take 100% of the land as an archaeological site, maybe 1% has been excavated. To come to conclusions about what archaeology does or doesn't say about the Bible based on what you haven't found is extremely dangerous. But I can also say that the more we dig, the more we find that does actually support the Bible. We're now uncovering that some of the most amazing stories in the Bible, like the Exodus narrative, which has always been, where's the proof? There's actually a tremendous amount of information out there. And most interestingly enough, is dealing with someone I met a number of years ago, whose name is Brad Sparks. He's done more research on this topic of the Exodus than I think anyone else in human history. And he's found incredible stuff, direct evidence on the walls of the Valley of the Kings in Egypt, showing graphic depictions, these are by the Egyptians, on these tombs, of the splitting of the sea and the Jews crossing and the water coming over. And when I first saw it, I didn't believe it. It was like just too good to be true. And when I looked into it, it is true. It's right there. It's always been there, and no one's ever seen it. So here's people saying, there's no proof. It's such an amazing story. How come we don't find anything about it? And boom, there's always been something about it. We just never saw it. Most people are just ignoring it.